Hello, my lovelies. It's Teresa here, and as promised, I am here to give you an inspiration of the day, and a thought of the day, which is, what are you operating from, your ego mind or the mind of the miraculous? And it's very hard to distinguish when you embark upon this journey at the beginning. However, by following these tools, by following these universal truths, I hope to be able to give you an idea of how you can distinguish and decipher the difference between the two. So first I'll talk about the ego mind, which is how we operate in the human physical plane, in the 3D world. That is the part of you that worries, that doubts, that fears. That's the part of you that has limited thinking. We all have this. We created it. It's part of our persona at times. And, you know, we hear that we have to destroy the ego mind. But from the Course in Miracles, where I'm basing these teachings, I recommend it. To have the mind of God means that you only can think of what is true and what is real. And what is not real is that which is not of the mind of God. So anything that is not of the mind of God doesn't exist. Let me repeat that. Anything that is not from the mind of God does not exist. So that means fear. That means worry. That means faithlessness. That means limited. That means constrictiveness. Having the mind of God is the opposite of that. So that would be, you're living in faith. You know that all is well. You trust in the process of life. When you start worrying, you realize you're going into fear, so you quickly go back to all is well. I can live knowing that I'm a piece of God. And when we recognize that we are of God, so that means that we are of those qualities. That means that we do have that within us because we were created, are created, and still creating as an expression of God, as a piece of that. So they cannot coexist at the same time. And when we choose that ego way of thinking and believing and living our lives, we feel that constriction, we feel that heaviness, and we separate ourselves from the realm of the abundance, from the realm of the miraculous, from the realm of unconditional and eternal love. We are the ones that separate ourselves from God. It is impossible for God to separate from us, as much as it is impossible if you have children to separate yourself from your children. Or you cannot separate yourself from your earthly parents because you come from them. It's even more so with the divine creator of all things. You know, through the Course in Miracles, it has you really look around in your reality and know that a lot of what we've created in our life is based on the ego, and it is not real and true because only truth exists. So the choice is up to us, and by acknowledging the presence in your life, by inviting more of the mind of God into your life, by relying on the example of the Christ, by praying for Yeshua, Jesus, the Christ, to come in and help you decipher and distinguish which mind you're operating from, and to help you remember that you actually do have the mind of God inhabiting inside of you. And so if you ever feel like you're split-minded or you're just so confused, it's because there is an internal battle going on of the ego mind holding on, grasping on because it's so fear-based, and the mind of God, which is peaceful, which is trusting, which is assuredness, which is confidence, which is joy. If there is one way that we can honor God for the life that we have, which has been a free gift for each and every one of us, we are not victims. We are creators. So what have you created? And I just want to say that one of the best ways to honor our life is to live a life with joy. Joy is as contagious as fear, even more so. Everybody wants to feel joy. So how do you get to joy when you're going through a challenge? Gratitude. So if you have a depression going on, you're going through a crisis, you're sad, you're ill, whatever it is, trust me, I've been in all of those shoes. I'm still recovering from teetering on the edge of the next life with liver issues, and I was in liver failure actually. But what's interesting, I've had so many close calls in so many ways. What happens to me afterwards is my faith is even stronger. I am even more fearless. I know even more about what's happening. I have a clearer connection. I have a strength in this awakening with my faith. So I want to spread that to you. I want you to live by faith. I want you to live from the mind of God. I want you to be here so we can support one another. If you would like, tell me what your big question is. What is tripping you up, right? Because this is an important part as we go into manifesting miracles. I want you to know that miracles are normal and natural, that we are to live in the realm of the miraculous, which is living in the realm of God. And how do we get there? By seeking the mind of God, by knowing who God really is. It's not the God we've been taught that's vengeful. We have a merciful, all-loving God that can never, ever, ever be anything but that. And so, you know, throughout the millennia, many teachers have made God out to be vengeful, to be vicious, to be angry. And, you know, just like fear and faith can't exist in the same place, neither can hate and love, or anger really and love. Vengefulness and unconditional love. They just can't occupy the same place at the same time. And because we know that God never changes, that God always is, truth always remains the same. God is always God. That never, ever, ever changes. So, you know, we've been taught with misperceptions. We've been taught with misunderstandings. So one of the most clearest texts that you can read is the Course in Miracles. And in Patreon, which you should have gotten your email by now, or you will be getting it today rather, and we're going to put the information down below, but we're going to have these workshops, and it is going to be based on many books of really a lifetime of me seeking of the spiritual gifts that have come to me, the messages that come through me. It'll be spirit-led, and it'll be based on the text of A Course in Miracles. It's $18. Get it. It's a large text because it has the actual text, but then it has a workbook in it and also a manual for teachers. So it's a very all-encompassing lifetime read. I'll tell you, you'll pick it up over and over again. And so look for those details of when we're going to be having those classes. But just for the rest of the day today, when you're being the observer of your thoughts, it's the best way to be able to tell by non-judgment. Do not judge what's going on inside your own head. Instead, be the third-party observer about where is your motivation coming from. Is it by the inspiration of the mind of God, or is it motivated by fear? And how you can tell the difference is fear, we feel constricted, and we have worry, and we feel smaller, and we feel weight, and just an overall heaviness in our life. And we see that way. We see life that way. We then vibrate to that, and that's what we attract to ourselves. So this is all about elevating your vibration through truth, through connection, through relationship, and healing of the mind. And truly, all you have to do is remember to have the mind of God, is to acknowledge that you have the mind of God within you, and to rely on that, invite it in. So I invite even more into my life, and I challenge and encourage you to invite even more into yours. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody.